welcome to our fourth set of matches for Apex Legends through Esports Ohio. We're going to be jumping into the game here in just a few moments. This week we're going to be playing on Broken Moon. It'll be really interesting to see as we just had our new season come out here in Apex, so we're going to be seeing quite a few shakeups, some interesting changes to the meta, new legends, new guns. It's going to be a good time. Let's see what folks are picking. Let's see who has picked up on the message as we load in here. Obviously, support's very popular in previous weeks. We were in a pretty strong support meta. Still a few supports coming in out of the gate. Looks like we've got quite a few lifelines on deck here. Lots of ashes, going for that more aggressive play with some pretty strong movement abilities. A couple ramparts in the mix. Looks like pretty common to see some Assault Legends here. We're going to see how things go as we get started.
We all fight.
All right, let's take a look here.
For what's right.
Lots of options. You can see we've got all of our POI indicators here on the map. Watching as some folks head down.
Let's check out that area.
Barberton jumping immediately, landing over here at Alpha Base, going right for those arsenals to quickly get some weapons. Let's take a little bit of a look at the map while they loot up. Let's see who's going to be near one another. Lots of people landing pretty close by. Middletown and Warren G. Harding pretty close together here over at Stasis Array. Lots of teams going for Divide. Let's take a look and see here. Shaker Heights and Akron STEM split holding this. Goshen decides to get lost a little bit, hoping to maybe rally. Let's take a look here and see if we can get some fighting. Any other action before we zoom in on this? Actually, we'll wait. Maybe they're getting into it. Let's take a look and see what's happening here with Sanex. Already getting into the action. Gets a knock onto Ohio Distance Learning Academy. Double support with the Ash. They've got that Ash legend in there. Let's see where their teammates at. Choosing to run, choosing to try and get away. Do they know where our teammate is at? Lots of good movement. Possibly going to be able to get out here. I think she may be able to get out. Meanwhile, let's go take a look and see. Shaker Heights, Akron STEM, are they getting into it? Back over here at Divide.
Fancy going this way. Look at that Blanca over there. No idea.
Akron STEM holding. Meanwhile, Shaker Heights as a duo runs immediately into Goshen, returning back here, looking for this fight. Seer Rampart is an interesting comp in the current meta that we're dealing with right now. Seer choosing to get out. Meanwhile, if we jump back here, Akron STEM trying to get into it. Shaker Heights still knocked. One down, one cracked on Goshen.
You are faking.
Two knocked. Oh, they managed to get the reset actually. They're going for the finish. Looks like Akron STEM choosing to rotate out. One full finish, so they're going to choose to get out of there. See what other action we've got happening here on the map. Teams that are close by. Looks like if we jump over here, Brookside High School.
I leveled up. Now, let's get an upgrade.
Actually, just got finished off. Looks like Brookside, Akron STEM ran right into them on that rotate. Unfortunate rotation, unfortunate positioning. Sometimes you just get unlucky like that. trying to get the reset after that three-way fight. Nobody else really looking too close to one another right now. Ohio Distance Learning Academy here does manage to get that reset, so the Ash was able to get away. Not too far away from Barberton 2, who might be looking to take this fight, get a little bit aggressive on them.
Weapons ready. Enemy.
Bamboozled.
Enemy in the distance.
Barberton still playing this pretty aggressively. Some good damage, some good shots going down. Of course, this new season, among other changes, bringing much lower time to kill. A lot higher damage on almost every weapon. If you are the first one getting shot in a fight, chances are you may be going down. Barberton's still looking for this remaining team, chasing it out. Meanwhile, back over here, it looks like after finishing off Akron STEM, Brookside now here tries to push in on Goshen. It's going to be a 3v2. And that's going to be it. Brookside taken out by Goshen. Jumping over here to Terraformer. We've got one knocked on St. X1. Currently in a fight with Barberton 2, pushing out that far, looking to get aggressive as they chased down the remaining members. Ran right into St. X, it looks like. Meanwhile, jumping in on them as well, we have Middletown 2. Manages to sneak back up behind St. X. Get a few shots in here. As a trio, though, versus this team with double controller legends, going to be a tough position for them to push. We're just sitting on Sheila. We are a living, breathing turret. Any other action that we've got happening here? Don't see anything in the kill feed. Everyone kind of stabilizing. If we take a look, we can see our next ring here coming in.
Enemy nearby.
Let's go. Easy to use this ultimate, amigos. What do you think is over here?
St. X rotating away a little bit here, manages to find a Middletown 1. Is that right? Yeah, Middletown 1 stabilizing here. Middletown 1, of course, had a huge week last week, playing very aggressive. It'll be interesting to see Zen, a very good player. It'll be interesting to see how they manage to deal with a form of play where most teams might be looking to go a little bit aggressive. Assault Legends, very strong right now. Sniper shots coming down. Great damage. Manages to get a huge crack onto Watson. Another huge crack onto the Ash. Good entry damage. No supports on the other team. Potentially good opportunity to push in here. One knocked and one actually fully eliminated. That Watson manages to manages to be taken out there. St. X has one down versus Middletown. Watch this fight for a minute here. Let's take a look. We do see in the kill feed there is another fight happening here. Let's see if we can find it. Looks like Ohio Distance Learning Academy actually one knocked, one fully finished. One running to get away here from Barberton 1, who they managed to run into right in this choke. Meanwhile, Shaw High School, as a solo here, unfortunately happens to rotate right through that same choke. Barberton just kind of holding here. Jump over here. There's a lot of action happening in the next zone. right on top of each other. Looks like we've got St. X High School, team number 2. Troy High School, pretty decent positioning here from Troy in previous matches, so it'll be interesting to see how they play this as the zone starts closing. They are pretty good at getting into that end game. Also on top of them, we've got Springfield High School, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, did I see National Trail somewhere in the mix here? No, this is Troy High School here. Springfield High School, although coming up closely behind them, we've got Middletown 2. Fight going down. While those 4 teams are kind of locked into a standoff here, Barberton 1, it looks like, running into Barberton 2, which is going to be eliminated. Meanwhile, right on top of that same team here, Middletown 1, fully eliminated, taken out by Barberton 1. Also right on top of them, we've got Goshen High School pushing in. One knock here on Barberton. Bangalore low. Looks like the Ash for Barberton created some distance, now pushing back in. And then who do we have that's coming in here? Is that also Goshen? That looks like that's also Goshen. No, that's Warren G. Harding going in for the third party, perhaps a little bit early here. Barberton gets one finish here. Manages to take out one of the remaining Warren G. Harding players.
Donut over there and they're healing.
Agreed.
Shaker Heights now, it looks like, pushing in, looking to get into this same mix up here. Looks like in that chaos we had Goshen taken out, actually. We have one still up here for Ohio Distance and Learning Academy. Springfield now, potentially going to run into this solo. They see him, waiting for the res. And that Ash movement manages to get out of there, running for it. Don't know if they're going to have anything that'll catch. Meanwhile, we've got a lot of action happening here in zone. St. X 2, right on top of Troy High School, fighting for the same building. Really quick damage there, managing to get a knock on the fuse. A knock onto the Ash, just going to be the lifeline. Gets good damage, but unfortunately taken out. Troy High School going to be eliminated there by St. X 2.
I gotcha.
Anybody nearby? Are we going to get any third parties? The reset, we are going to get a third party. We're going to have Barberton 1 pushing in, and that's a quick finish to take out St. X 2. With this super aggressive meta, it's very difficult to stabilize, very difficult to hold off a third party. You are just one and done when it comes to getting that damage.
Let's check out over there.
Looks like we've got, if we look at our positions here, quite a few teams, a few solos. We've got Ohio Distance Learning Academy, has both of the banners, just looking to play a little bit quiet. Couple teams eyeing him. We've got Springfield High School pushing in. Just nearby, we've got Shaker Heights playing small, a little bit, ratting a little bit here as a duo. Maybe going to get some shots down onto Springfield. In zone, we have Barberton Team 1, looking to get a res off, holding down a building. They've got a pretty good spot. Meanwhile, before they can get the res off, actually, I think St. X maybe sees it, thinks about pushing up, decides against it. Double controller plus the Ash, decides to play a little bit more stable, decides to hold out their area. Behind them, meanwhile, we have the solo from Warren G. Harding, looking to potentially get his teammate back in the game. And there we go. With the Ash TP, we see a much more aggressive push here from St. X. They are pushing up onto Barberton. One is knocked. They have the respawn that's coming in here on their lifeline, so she will be getting back into the fight. Their Ash, meanwhile, using those movement abilities, TPing around. TP's right actually into another team member. Looks like this is the Warren G. Harding solo. Fortunately for the Ash, doesn't want to do that. Not looking to take a 1v1. Meanwhile, looking to maybe pick off some of these solos is Springfield. They've got one on the height, they've got one on the low ground. And unfortunately caught in the crossfire there. Looks like that's going to be one of the St. X High School members taking out our Springfield High School Horizon. Let's take a look at the zone. We can see the positioning. Barberton High School, after that huge push, that absolutely just destructive push by St. X, now playing extremely split. We've got the Ash on one side of the map and the Lifeline on the other. Fortunately for them, as a duo, it looks like they're trying to get back together. They're managing to kind of push into one another. Only solos around them. Right now, it looks like we've got one trio. That is St. X1. If they play smart, if they play their cards right, may be able to pull out the win on this. Our other teams, meanwhile, we have one duo here in the form of Shaker Heights. We have one duo here in the form of Barberton, possibly get the reset, although now getting aggressively pushed actually by one of those solos. Shaw High School putting down some damage onto the duo. At this point, I mean, might as well. Clearly they're looking for the reset. You can hit your shots. The T2K being so low at this point, a high damage weapon. It is entirely possible that a solo can take out a couple other team members. Unfortunately, just not a lot of places left to go here. Shaw High School looking for a spot to get some shield batteries off. Not going to find great ones. Meanwhile, it looks like the solo of Warren G. Harding and the duo of Shaker Heights running into one another right here on the edge, trading shots here. And that's going to be Ohio Distance Learning Academy actually taken out on the rotate in by Shaw High School. Actually, maybe by Springfield High School, looking to stabilize here. Double controller. Springfield does manage to get one up after a knock. And that's going to be it for them. Springfield going to be taken out by Barberton 1. Now a full trio. Barberton 1 is a trio. St. X as a trio.
Moving that way.
Our solo from Shaw High School, again, playing a little bit aggressive here. You know, taking on these duos, taking on these trios, making life a little bit harder for him. Could potentially be a factor if he plays his cards right, if he chooses his timing. Meanwhile, Warren G. Harding looking to get one back in, looking to become a duo. Nobody around him. Oh, Barberton sees it though. Let's take a look. They see it. They smell blood. The Ash TP goes off. But they've got an Ash of their own. They manage to get the knock here onto the Ash. Does get the respawn off, so that Newcastle's going to be coming back in, but with zone coming, it's going to be tough to get away. Barberton going to be right on him. We'll watch this for a second. Our other teams are mostly stable, so this is the most action we're getting right now. And that is it for Warren G. Harding.
Got company on
Enemy in the distance.
3 squads left. We have the trio of St. X1.
Target spotted. Far.
We have Barberton 1, again as a full trio. And then we have Shaker Heights as the duo.
Pop up here. Boosted loader.
Some good damage here. Entry damage potentially from St. X versus Barberton. The zone starts to close. They're going to need to choose their position pretty carefully. Barberton runs right into Shaker Heights. Not something that you wanted to see if you're Shaker Heights. This would have been a fantastic time to hope for a 3v3 from the other two teams that you can maybe clean up on. The Mastiff shots. The Mastiff with the 2x. Gets one down, and that's going to be it. St. X eliminated. The 2 times Mastiff, not enough.
Replicator here.
And so it's going to be a 3v3 here in the end.
Going there.
St. X1 was looking to get a little fresh on them, maybe trying to get some damage in while they were fighting that 3v2. Doesn't manage to do it. Their Ash is going to TP back here.
Keeping an eye out right here.
Barberton on the high ground, a pretty good position here as the zone starts to close. St. X looking to rotate around them to the east a little bit here. The gen comes down, gives them a position to stabilize. Good entry damage, but not enough. So we're going to see one knock here onto St. X as their Watson goes down.
Do not let them miss.
The Ash going for the res here. That covering fire from Sheila going to be pretty strong. 2 knocked onto the other squad, and their Ash is going to be 1 shot. This looks like it could be it. They're not even going for the res. They're going for the 2-1, and St. X1 comes out as the winner in game number 1. Congratulations and well played to our teams. We definitely saw some more aggressive plays there as we went into this match. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with scores, and then it'll be on to match number 2. Just a brief interlude here for a score update. Let's take a look and see how we're standing after our first set of matches. As you can see, Barberton won with a big game, manages to come into first place here off of a 27-point score. Did not manage to get the win out, but with a strong performance in that match and a good amount of KP, they do manage to clinch the top spot, at least after match number 1. St. X1 are winners of our first match in second place with 17 points, followed closely behind with Shaker Heights on 8. In fourth place, we have St. X2, Middletown 1 on 5th place. We have Shaw High School on 6th, Goshen coming in 7th place, although a tied point score between them and Shaw. Barberton 2 in 11th place, Ohio Distance Learning Academy in 12th place, Middletown 2 in 13th, Brookside in 14th, Akron STEM High School in 15th, East Canton we have in 16th place here. Looks like we've got some weird behavior here from our scoreboard, actually. Jumping around, looks like Warren G. Harding, we go over here for 8 points on 4. Springfield, 9th place in 4 points. And then Troy, 10th place in 4 points. So some strange behavior. We'll have to take a look on the backside and see what's causing some weird wraparound issues here. But you can see our leaderboard at the moment. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for match 2 on Broken Moon. Just a reminder of your current scoreboard before we come back in for game number 2. Here we go, loading back in for Broken Moon on our second match here in our 4th week of matches. Just as a reminder to any coaches who may be watching, we do have a match scheduled for next week, which is the makeup week, due to some snow cancellations earlier in the season. Match number 2, let's see what our comps look like. We saw a good amount of support legends still in play, as well as some of the more aggressive assault legends. Again, quite a few Ashes being picked here. Also a decent number of Bangalores in the mix. People playing with their options as far as Assault Legends go, it looks like. We also have quite a few supports and controllers still. We see some Newcastles, we see some Gibbies. As with last game, looks like we have some Ramparts and some Watsons, trying to make that playable space more playable. Here we go, as we launch in on Broken Moon. Let's take a look at our map and see where teams are going. Nobody right on top of each other so far. We may see something over here. Looks like we've got East Canton flying in right alongside Brookside, potentially going to be landing right nearby. Middletown 1 and Shaw High School over here in Eternal Gardens.
Let's go that way.
Goshen High School right here next to the Middletown 2 solo, it looks like. Who is going to be getting into it here off drop?
Keep your eyes peeled. An enemy landed near me.
It's going to be a fist fight here as the first flood of the match. As the solo Loba here for Middletown 2 runs away from the Aggie.
Evo harvesters
Gets the knock.
available.
But unfortunately, that's going to be it as the teammates finally arrive. Goshen claims first blood. Meanwhile, over here, we've got Shaker Heights immediately getting into a fight with Springfield over here on Terraformer. It's going to be 3v2 for this match.
That way.
Shaker Heights running away. Looks like Springfield's going to let them a little too early. Meanwhile, Shaw High School here. One knocked already. One-shot, two one-shot actually, as they immediately get into a fight, and that's going to be it. They are eliminated by Middletown 1. This very aggressive meta, potentially favoring a more aggressive team like Middletown 1. We can see Zen, what was on Mad Maggie last week for E-District, playing very aggressively with the teammates. We've got their lifeline back in here, but then we have the Ash and the Bangalore for those Assault Legend buffs. If we look around the map here, we don't see a lot of action. Oh wait, we do see some action here. East Canton immediately getting into a fight here. It's Brookside High School. One knocked on Brookside. One knocked on East Canton as well. It's going to be a 2v1. Based on the sound of that zip line, it seems like Brookside's going to take the opportunity to try and get out. Although they, I believe, are pushing right onto Akron STEM High School, which is here waiting over here at Production Yard. And they managed to get the elimination. Brookside, unfortunately, swings right into a full team on the escape. Akron STEM and Ohio Distance Learning Academy, it looks like, just on opposite sides of this production yard POI. Potentially going to be running into each other here in just a moment. Let's stay with this for just a minute.
Care package over there. Care
See if our
package over
teams are
there.
aware.
Let's head in that direction, darlings.
Looks like they're going to go their separate ways. Ohio Distance Learning Academy, Akron STEM splitting up. Any other action happening? Barberton 1 found quite a bit of action guarding the chokes through this area in match number 1. Maybe looking to repeat that. Meanwhile, quite a few teams rotating around Harvester here. It looks like on the south side we've got Barberton 2, who maybe sees some potential, enemies here. They're going to Ash ult in on Goshen for that aggressive push. Goshen managing to get some good damage off of that. The Newcastle looking for the res here. Support, unfortunately, not quite as strong as it used to be. That's going to be 2 down here for the Barberton 2 team. Meanwhile, the Ash immediately says, I don't want any of that. I'm out of here. Meanwhile, somebody who does want some of that is going to be Saint X1. Winners of match number 1. They're looking for that third party, trying to quickly get into it with Goshen. 1 knocked here. Rampart walls going down, trying to get set up, and there is Sheila. We love to see it. As a certified Rampart enjoyer here, perfectly happy to see this character get more play. We take a look at the opposite perspective here. It looks like in that mix up there, Goshen had 1 full finished. I think there's actually a couple teams here. Our 2 Assault Legends going to take the opportunity to get out here. Meanwhile, Middletown 1 getting into the fight with St. X. This is a 3v3. Middletown 1, a very aggressive team, versus St. X, also a fairly aggressive team. St. X with the double controller comp, possibly going to be able to hold the inside of this building a little bit better. Although, shots going down here. 1 knocked here. Trying to stabilize, and they do get the full finish. So the Assault Legend here, the powerful Ash that we've seen in this meta, does go down. And then meanwhile, they push in. It's going to be a very quick push in here from Middletown, and they manage to get the final elimination. St. X1 goes out. Our winners of game number 1 out at 12th place already. That's what you get with this aggressive meta and these aggressive teams. Meanwhile, Middletown 1 now, St. X2 running in, possibly hoping to avenge their fallen classmates. Ultimately deciding, no, we don't want it. They get Bangalore ulted off, they decide to retreat. On the opposite side here, it looks like Barberton 2 and Goshen now running into one another. Good damage from that L-Star coming out from Goshen. We've got 1 knock. Stubbly Wind, a pretty aggressive player we've seen in previous matches. Usually pretty decent at hitting their shots. We've seen them on Maggie before in these games. The Ash just a little bit behind, looking to close some distance with that air dash. Barberton 2 left with 1 knocked and 1 still up. It's going to be their Ash. Quickly getting away here. Taking the zip far away. They're going to look for the reset while the Newcastle crawls. Probably not going to get rezzed. Probably going to have to get brought back in. Let's see, Barberton 1 over here. We've got a fight happening against East Canton already over here at Dry Gulch. 1 knocked, 1 full finished. The Gibby looks to escape, hoping to keep his life. Barberton immediately chasing, and they get the elimination. East Canton is out. Barberton 1 now stabilizing. Also a pretty aggressive team, although we've seen them favor sort of a more zone-based gameplay in the past. Here we can see double Assault Legend, 1 Support Legend, No controllers to be found, no skirmishers to be found. They are betting big on this aggressive meta as well. Nobody too close to one another right now. Looks like Warren G. Harding and Troy High School, as well as St. X High School, team number 2, looking to rotate out of the quarantine zone and trying to find a spot in zone, which is going to be pulling up here towards core at the north of the map. Let's take a look. We're going to see quite a few teams running into one another as they rotate in. Middletown 1 are a hyper-aggressive team. They do see Ohio Distance Learning Academy choosing their moment. Ohio Distance Learning Academy a little bit split right now. Doesn't seem to know, doesn't seem to see the danger until it's too late. Getting shots in. We can hear the Ash TP from behind as Middletown pushes in. You can see they're up there on the roof now. And they managed to get a knock. Our final member, our Bangalore, getting out. And you hear the double Ash TP coming in, actually. You've got one for the initial push, one for the chase down, and Ohio Distance Learning Academy just cannot escape from this Middletown 1 team.
Targeting that spot.
Meanwhile, it looks like Springfield getting into it with Barberton 2 over here on the rotate in as well, and does manage to get the full finish. Barberton 2 going to be eliminated. Troy versus Warren G. Harding happening over here on the edge of the map. Troy as a 3-man, fighting the duo. Now a solo, it looks like, as the Crypto tries to get away. Maybe hoping for the rat play. Goes invisible. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see. And unfortunately, going to be taken out to the zone. Not a bad play. Trying to play quiet there. Just did not have enough health to tank that zone. Troy gets the elimination versus Warren G. Harding. Akron Stem and St. X2 getting into a fight on the rotate in. Akron Stem with the single controller layout here. We've got the Sheila walls again, making cover out of nothing. Waiting to see what happens in this fight is Middletown 1. Goshen actually right in the middle of this as well. It's going to be St. X2 versus Goshen. Goshen manages to get one knock here. Our Bangalore, nowhere close actually, looks to get away here. Goshen's going to get a reset. Meanwhile, Akron Stem senses blood. Goshen's ready for it. They see that coming. Immediately trying to go for the res. Sheila comes out. Crazy damage output, but only if you manage to survive. Akron Stem could be down 1, could be down 2. They managed to get the final finish there. Akron Stem is eliminated. Meanwhile, 2 knocked immediately by Middletown on Goshen. The Ash going to be the last one alive. Decides to tank zone. If it was me in a 1v3 versus Middletown 1, I also would be tanking zone. Anything preferable to fighting this hyper-aggressive team. Even in a 3v3, it's a tough fight, a tough composition. St. X2, meanwhile, playing quiet here, hoping not to get noticed. Going for a little sneaky rat play as a solo. Goshen 2 doesn't appear to notice them. We've got 2 rats, both afraid of the big bad wolf over here of Middletown 1. Goshen's going to look for a path, maybe try and get into zone here, possibly going to run into Springfield High School. Sitting, waiting, they're going to have to move here as the zone starts to close. Meanwhile, if we take a look at where our teams are positioned, St. X as a solo, rotating on the far back edge of zone, just trying to stay out of that damage tick and not be noticed. Middletown, splitting up a little bit, coming in aggressively versus Troy High School, already set up here in zone on 4. Middletown immediately teleporting in, I think some of these teams are going to be having nightmares about the sound of the Ash teleport after games like this. They do manage to stabilize a little bit here. Support Legends coming in clutch. Troy High School holding down the top part of core. Meanwhile, on the low ground here, we've got Barberton 1 versus Middletown, it looks like. Middletown manages to eliminate, it looks like, one of the Barberton members fully down. They get the banner. Remains to be seen if they're going to manage to find a way. Meanwhile, this is Troy High School giving up the height, trying to push down a little bit here, maybe hoping to make something out of the chaos that's happening. Middletown actually, it looks like, backed off a little bit. They didn't quite like how that fight was going. Third parties, of course, always dangerous in Apex, but even more so with this super aggressive meta. Our Goshen solo playing quiet here on the edge of zone. Don't notice me. I'm fine. You don't see anything. Springfield here up on the roof. Very strong position in zone. They are playing with a controller legend, so they're going to have those launching fences, possibly Watson gens, Watson grenades. Although if you get good entry damage, you can see one shot here on the Springfield Maggie already from shots going down from Middletown. Maybe looking to get some good entry damage, maybe looking to get some hits. This is going to be purple, red versus, well, not this solo here, but purple, red versus triple blue here from our Springfield team. The majestic glide of life as she and her team rotate away to safety. Middletown manages to push them off. They're going to be able to take a little bit more of an aggressive position here. I don't think they fully realize that they've won. They've managed to force this team to give up the height. Meanwhile, Troy High School way out here outside of zone. They do have this whole side of the ring to themselves, but not a lot of cover to play as they start to rotate in. They're going to have to pick and choose a little bit where to go. Looks like they did manage to just get a couple eliminations here. We may have missed the fight happening over on this side of the map. I'm assuming they did manage to take out, looks like, those last two from Barberton. Springfield High School has put themselves pretty far on the low ground here. Lots of walls. There's some cover for them to play. Not the strongest position. Clearly the strongest position held here by Middletown 1. They have height if they need it. They have the buildings that they can play. 2 rats still in it. It's going to be a 3v3v3 here from Troy High School, Middletown 1, and Springfield. Meanwhile, Goshen as a rat and Sanex as a rat. Hoping to make something happen, but with no beacons in zone, not very promising. There is a crafter. Crazier things have happened, but you'd need a lot of people to look the other way for that to happen. Some sniper duels going out here between Troy High School and Middletown 1 on the height. Really good damage being put down here by the Ash for Troy High School, but Middletown also gets good damage, gets the knock, and now that Ash TP immediately comes in. They want the smoke, they want the aggression. Unfortunately, though, doesn't seem to be going amazingly for them at the moment here. Middletown, 1 knocked, 2 knocked. Zen, one of their stronger players, down. The Bangalore looking to get some kind of kill off, not able to do it, and Middletown 1 going to be eliminated. That is a very scary threat that Troy High School managed to take out in this end game. With Troy getting looted up here, Springfield holding the inside of this core zone. They've got a little wall here to play. They've got some small area to play here. It's going to be a 3v3v1v1 as our 2 rats manage to avoid detection for a little bit longer. It'll be interesting to see here. Oh, I think we have some eyes coming down. Troy High School does manage to spot that solo for Goshen. The Ash TP trying to get away. Unfortunately, manages to TP right into another team. Goshen going to be eliminated, taken out. Lots of full teams here in the end game, and you end up between 2 of them. It's going to be a bit of a struggle. Let's stay with this fight here for a minute. This is probably the one that's going to decide it. We've got Springfield with 1 knock. Immediately in the fight here with Troy High School, 2 up. Mostly full, completely full health now. Troy manages to take out Springfield, and that's it. The St. X Rat manages to make it to 3rd place. Throws out the Bangalore ult, smokes himself. It's going to be a 1v3. I think our St. X player knows the score here. And Troy is going to take it in game number 2. We'll be back in just a moment with a final score update for this week's matches. We'll see where people rank on the overall leaderboards. As always, official results will be posted to the Esports Ohio Discord and then uploaded to League OS. All right, let's take a look at our results after match 2 here before we sign off for the week. If we take a look at our scoreboard, after match number 2, Barberton 1 still holding on to 1st place, although the gap narrowing behind them and the other teams here. Troy High School close behind after a great performance in match 2. They're the winners of that 2nd match with 27 points in 2nd place. Middletown 1, our very aggressive team that we saw running around quite a bit last week, still coming in strong, managing to finish in 3rd overall for the week off 25 points. Closely behind them, with a tie score actually, we've got St. X 1 on 19 as well as Goshen on 19, followed by St. X 2 on 18 in 6th place, Springfield High School in 7th place, Shaker Heights in 8th place, then we have Warren G. Harding in 9th, Shaw High School in 6th. Jumping around a little bit here. I'm assuming Shaw High School, yeah, 6th, sorry, not in 6th, in 10th place with 6. Finally, we have 11th place, Akron STEM High School, 12th place, Barberton 2, 13th place, Ohio Distance Learning Academy, 14th place, Brookside High School, 15th place, Middletown 2, and East Canton finishing out in 16th for the week. Once again, these are in-game scores based on eliminations and placement. These will be converted to league points before they're updated to League OS, and the final standings for our overall position in the season are revealed. Thank you again for tuning in. This has been our 4th week of matches here for Esports Ohio. Just a reminder again to coaches, we do have a match scheduled for next week as a makeup from the snow delays and cancellations that happened earlier in the season. So we will see you all same time, same place next Wednesday.